Hello, everyone. So, I am Lindsay with Winds of Change Ministries, and I am doing a marathon. And so, anyway, you're going to be, let's hear an echo. I don't know where it's coming from. Oh, wait 1 second. I do. So, just bear with me. This is my first time doing a live stream in this particular setup. What a mess. Hmm. There we go. I'll cut this all off later. So, anyway, what is the problem here? Mhm. Thank you for your patience. I think I'm starting to work out these kinks. Nope. All right. I'll do better next time. So yes, I am just to go through this. I am doing a marathon for the Book of Torah. Ah, that echo is driving me crazy. I gotta find it. The problem is I'm working on a dinosaur computer and it's taking forever for these windows to open and close. Hello, Maria. Hi. So yes, that's what I'm waiting for. It's like, will this stupid computer please hurry up and grind through whatever it's doing so I can close some windows? because I've got like 15 windows open. Maybe that's why. I like windows open. I'm sorry. They're like my messy desk or something, right? Having all those windows. Actually, those windows help keep the desk clean because I won't have so much clutter, right? Yes, I Oh, you like my live stream so far? Thank you so much because this is pretty embarrassing. It's like, oh, this stupid computer, please just hurry up. Are you hearing the echo, Marie? Oh, you hear the echo? My middle name is Marie. Oh gosh, where the heck is this echo coming from? So if you don't mind, while we're waiting for the computer to do its thing, and be sure to hit the like button. So really, the goal of this whole thing is for me to increase my subscribers. I've got a different setup, and it's really kicking my rear end right now. I don't know. I think my computer has locked up or something. Um, if it wasn't for the echo, I would move forward and just say, forget it. But I have to get rid of this echo. Oh, thank you for scribing. I appreciate that. So if you don't mind the echo, we can just chit chat while my computer is doing this mess. Let's see. Are you Turtle? Oh, we got Turtle Bud, Turtle Dud. Hi, Turtle Dud. Thank you for subscribing as well. This is unbelievable. I was wanting to do this audio recording of the Bible, the reading, and it is just being a nightmare. But we'll get there. It's a marathon, right? Hey, talking about marathons, the turtle and the hare. The turtle wins. It's taken me a while to get up and going, but we'll get there. Oops, I accidentally joined a new live stream, but I came back. All right. So, if you want, tell me what has interested you in this topic. Um, Hello, Odessa. Thank you for joining. You've stepped into a little bit of a mess. I've got this terrible echo from my computer, and I'm trying to get it. You know what I'm gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna unplug my speaker, and that should end it. All right. That's what I had to do. No, it didn't end it. now the now the sound is coming from my computer. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. I thought I was gonna outsmart it by unplugging the computer. I mean, unplugging the speaker. It's a good thing that echoed back, so I was able to correct myself. Best kind of donut. Oh, add a Q&A sticker. I don't know. I'm getting some weird messages. Oh, you have lag? That's what I'm having so much problems. I don't know why my computer. Maybe I can just turn off the audio somewhere and just on the computer because what has happened is my window, my browser, internet browser has frozen and it won't let me do anything. And but I have it open for a reason. So now I gotta find out where to just turn off the speaker. And but that button's not wanting to work too. Okay, yay! Yeah, I just turned off the speaker, and now now I reopened the browser, and I've got something on the browser that I'm using. That's why I'm even messing with it. You should shut down. If I shut down this computer, I'm telling you, it's a dinosaur, and it would take an hour for it to re-upload. But so let me just now that we got the speaker, now that we got the speaker not echoing, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. Okay, so I devoted several years to doing really deep Bible study. All right, several years. And I unlocked some really amazing mysteries. Okay. And I've written a couple of books, self published books. So I'm not, I'm not big and famous like a lot of the other people who have good networks. And one of those books is God's Master Plan for the Masses. Now, in this book, and this was published several years ago, I have I talk about how God wrote his Paleo Hebrew name over the United States, and that is I go into the deep mysteries of this, okay? And I actually published this before it became mainstream and everyone started talking about the three eclipses. So, yeah, that was one of the mysteries that God helped me unravel years ago. And I have written another book, God's Master Plan for Salvation. Both of these books are available on Amazon. Um, I don't have a copy of that book yet, but because I'm in between places, all right, I'm in between places. Sometimes when you work for God, you get put through certain kinds of trials and tribulations, and right now I find myself at rock bottom. All right, that's where I find myself, rock bottom. I'm literally starting over in life. I'm in some kind of a weird transition period. Oh, you might notice this the flag behind me. Well, just talking a little bit about myself before I start the reading. That flag is something that I made back when um, I was uh, I had my late husband was sick a lot, and I had to go to the hospital, and I made this flag back in 2011 and 12 is when I worked on that flag. I embroidered that flag by hand. And what I did was when I would take him to these doctor's appointments, and um, I had to sit out in the waiting room. I would work on this, and it was a way to help me cope with with everything because it was a very stressful it was just very stressful, right? Just being there. And now I'm trying. Now my my browser finally closed down, but it also closed down what I had where I'm going to be reading from. So now I have to open something else. Let me see. Anyway, and so this is the flag. Now, if you will go through my channel, I did take this flag on a couple of adventures this last year in 2024, and I started to do some traveling, and I did flag routines in some different locations in the southeast, and just kind of symbolizing the winds of change, right? As the Holy Spirit moves across the country. And let's see if I can pull up my book. Thank you so much, Maria, for being here and for subscribing, and everyone else who has subscribed so much. Thank you also for participating in this mess of a beginning of this reading. All right. So I'm going to be reading from Genesis, Bereshit, uh, chapters 1 through 4 this morning. And what is motivating me for how to move to organize this marathon? It's the 40 days and 40 nights where the rains poured upon the earth, right, to help cleanse the earth. And several years ago, I actually, God had me do some kind of, as I was doing my Bible studies, I was working in the book of Isaiah, and that's a tough book. And I was learning the deep mysteries of the book of Isaiah. And God wanted me to very specifically from 11:11 through for 40 days and 40 nights um, to work in the book of Isaiah, and then um, he would have something for me at the end of that, right? There was someone who had blocked me. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Someone who had blocked me, a friend who had blocked me because it was a spiritual journey type thing. All right, it's a spiritual journey type thing, and that door opened, and we were able to reconnect after that 40 days and 40 nights. And like I said, sometimes God will put you through certain challenges, just so that to show that that God is real, right? You know, God is real. That's His Paleo Hebrew signature right there. Well, what do you mean by that, Wendy? The Aleph is the big letter, right? That means Alpha. Um, and then if you only take if you remove this lower eclipse path and only take the X, those were total eclipses. There's 3 eclipses here, and the X, those were both total eclipses, and they um, they create the last letter of the Paleo Hebrew alphabet, which is the Tau. So the Aleph Tau is the beginning and end, the Alpha and Omega. Okay, Alpha and Omega is Greek, and the Aleph Tau is Paleo Hebrew. So right there, God wrote His name over the United States, and He did it in 7 years. So that's the amazing thing about how awesome God is. So let's go ahead and get going with the Bible reading. I'm reading from Bereshit, Genesis, and I'm reading from my own interpretation, Sword of the Spirit. So a lot of people, the names are going to be a little bit different because I'm using reconstructed Paleo Hebrew. All right. So right here, this is Paleo Hebrew, and that's what I used, was a reconstructed Paleo Hebrew. Okay. So Bereshit means beginnings, and in Greek they used Genesis. So let's begin. Uh, cha- so I'm going to go through these chapters. I'm going to read through it, and then I will discuss it before doing the next chapter. So here we go. Chapter 1. In the beginning, Elohim, deities, created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Ruach, spirit of Elohim, moved upon the face of the waters. Then Elohim said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. Moreover, Elohim divided the light from the darkness. Then Elohim called the light Yom, day, and the darkness they called Lilah, night. Thus the evening and the morning were the first day. And Elohim said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Then Elohim made the firmament, and they divided the waters that were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And Elohim called the firmament Shamayim, heavens. Thus the evening and the morning were the second day. Then Elohim said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. Thus Elohim called the dry land Aretz, earth, and the gathered waters were called Yamim, seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. Also Elohim said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yield seed, the fruit tree yield fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. Therefore the earth brought forth grass, and the herb yielded seed after its kind. The tree yielded fruit, whose seed was in itself, after its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Thus the evening and the morning were the third day. Then Elohim said, "Let there be light in the firmament of the heavens, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for appointed times, and for days and years. Thus let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens, to give light upon the earth." And it was so. Therefore Elohim said, Therefore Elohim made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars also. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the heavens, to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. Thus the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And Elohim saw, and Elohim said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that has life, the fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of the heavens." Therefore Elohim created the great whales, and every living creature that moves, which the water brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Also Elohim, Elohim blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth." Thus the evening and the morning were the fifth day. Then Elohim said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, the livestock, and the creeping thing, and the beast of the earth after its kind." And it was so. Therefore Elohim made the beast of the earth after his kind, and the livestock after their kind, and everything that creeps upon the Adama after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Then Elohim said, let us make Adam, mankind, in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. Thus Elohim created mankind in their own image. In the image of Elohim they were created. Male and female they were created. Thus Elohim blessed them. Then Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said to them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. Moreover, Elohim said, behold, I have given unto you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which the fruit of the tree yields seed. It will be for you, it will be food for you, and for every beast of the earth, and for every fowl of the air, and for everything that creeps upon the earth and which has life. All the green herbs are for food. And it was so. Then Elohim saw everything that was made, and behold, it was very good. Thus the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Now, in most Bibles, um, this would be the end of chapter 1, the end of the sixth day. Well, why isn't the seventh day part of chapter 1, right? Why has modern literature separated the seventh day? It has completely removed it from chapter 1. It is part of chapter 2. Logically, this didn't make sense, okay? This is my version of the Bible, and so I have changed some of the um, verses and chapters so that things flowed better for logical and for processing, okay? For processing. You know, in today's culture, a lot of people don't even celebrate the seventh day. They don't honor it, and yet the Bible tells us to honor the seventh day. Um, and because of this, it's one of the reasons why I included the seventh day into chapter 1. So let me continue. Furthermore, the heavens and the earth were completed, and all the host of them. Therefore, on the seventh day, Elohim completed their work, which were made, and they rested on the seventh day from all their work, which was made. Then Elohim blessed the seventh day, and they set it apart because of it, because in it they rested from all their work which Elohim created and made. Okay, hello, Mianji. Um, and let's see. Yes, the circumstances with Nicaea, yeah, they changed a lot of things, and so originally the first believers were, they came from the Jewish faith, and so they had a lot of traditions that were rooted in Judaism, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this 40 days and 40 nights marathon of really working with the Torah. Okay, I'm wanting to read through the Torah over the next 40 days, and because I'm laying a foundation, right? And the foundation is um, is the Torah. It's the Torah, right? The teachings of the Torah is the foundation. There are so many great lessons in the Torah. Um, right now, there's a lot of speculation. Oh, but humanity is 10,000 years old or 20,000 or a million years old or whatever, right? And how could God have created humanity in just 7 days and all this different stuff, right? Well, that's one school of thought that is against, like the Christian or Judaism, you know. And yet now so many people are saying, are we living in a hologram? Are we living in a video game? How quickly can you upload a video game? Can you upload it in 7 days? Yeah. If you look at it that way, then it's very easy to see that, well, maybe there's some truth to this, right? I'm just saying that, the naysayers of Christianity say, oh, no, 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 we've been here for millions of years. And then the other naysayers of Christianity, they say, oh, no, no, we're just living in a simulation. So, regardless, whatever this reality is that we're living in, um, there's some significance to the seventh day. Okay, because even in video games, you got to live by certain rules, right? You got to live by certain there. If we are in the video game, you have to live within the parameters of that digital universe. Okay, and for whatever reason, God made the seventh day holy, and it held a special meaning. So, while do you have any thoughts that you'd like to share, Mianji? Do you have any thoughts, Mr. Miyagi? Is that how you spell it, Miyagi? I'm thinking it was Miyagi. Miyagi. Okay. So are you still there? And go ahead and post your questions if you have any before I start reading chapter 2. Okay. So um, let me see. There were some things I wanted to point out before I move forward. So, like I said, I am doing reconstructed Paleo Hebrew pronunciation. And so Elohim is the word for God. Okay? It's God's plural. Now, we have the Most High God, all right, the Most High God. And then he has his angels, he has his different things, and they are the ones that actually do the work. So God gives spoken word, and then things happen. So it's like, I don't know, maybe the ripple effect of those words, the frequency of those words. So we do have the Most High God, and um, but it very clearly says Elohim, and that is those are deities. Those are gods, the plural. Now, I know you don't see it on your screen. In my scriptures, I add the Aleph Tau. Most Bibles do not do this. It is the unspoken um, word that is. There are thousands. I forget the exact amount, but it's like something like 6,000 times in the Bible is the Aleph Tau, and yet it's unspoken and it's not mentioned. I go into um, the hidden meaning of the Aleph Tau in my book, God's Master Plan for the Masses. I talk about what the Aleph Tau is and a little bit of how I came to understand it. It was through God. God gave me revelation. All right. Um, it in the when they reinterpreted the Bible during the Reformation period, they did not know how to add that into literature, and so it was just omitted because it was an unspoken, um, just like an inserted word, and really Think of it this way. When people write text messages anymore, we add emojis, right? Just and it symbolizes something, right? It's something that symbolizes something. We don't read, for instance, Mr. Miyagi. You got that angry face, right? You got your angry face after your name. Okay. Well, we don't say Mr. Miyagi angry face. We just see it and go on, right? And in many ways, that is God's signature. Okay, that He is right there, and that He is a part of what is being spoken of. Whatever is the subject that it modifies, that it's. I don't know if I've got my English. I haven't been in English for so long, but whatever that it is linked to, that is the design of God. That's what it means. So, for instance, in the beginning, Elohim, deities, created the heavens and the earth. Well, what you don't see is that there are an Aleph Tau in front of heaven, and there is an Aleph Tau in front of earth. And so he created God. It represents God's influence on the heavens, God's influence on the earth. That's what it symbolizes. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to chapter 2. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that Yahweh, He exists, Elohim of the heavens and the earth, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For Yahweh Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the earth, for Adam was not there to till the ground. But a mist went up from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. When Yahweh Elohim formed Adam from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, then Adam became a living soul. Excuse me 1 second. Okay. And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden eastward in Aden, pleasure. And there he put Adam, whom he had formed. And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim made every tree that is pleasant to our sight and good for food to grow. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Also the river Also a river went forth out of Aden to water the garden, and from there it separated and became 4 heads. The name of the first is Pishun, to enlarge. It encompasses the whole land of Hawilah, circle, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon, to burst forth. It winds through the whole land of Cush, black. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel, rapid. It goes towards the east of Ashur, steppe. And and the fourth river is Karet, fruitful. Then Yahweh Elohim took Adam, and he put him into the garden of Aden to dress and keep it. Moreover, Yahweh Elohim commanded Adam, saying, Of every tree of the garden you may eat, you may freely eat. However, from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it, for in the day that you eat of it, surely you will die. Moreover, Yahweh Elohim said, it is not good that Adam is alone. I will make a helpmate for him as a counterpart. Also, out of the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and he brought them sorry, and he brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatever Adam called every living creature, that was its name. Thus Adam gave names to all livestock, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam a helpmate was not found for him. Therefore Yahweh Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. While he slept, then he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. Then Yahweh Elohim made the rib, which was taken from Adam, into a woman, and he brought her to Adam. And Adam said, now this is bone of my bone, and flesh of my flesh. He called her Aisha, woman, for out of Aish, man, she was taken. Therefore a man will leave his father and Therefore a man will leave his father and his mother, and will cleave to his wife. Then they will be one flesh. Furthermore, both of them, Adam and his wife, were naked, but they were not ashamed. Okay, this is where most Bibles end chapter 2. But I continue through the garden because this chapter begins with uh, talking about the Garden of Eden and the trees in it and the rivers in it. And so I finished through until they are expelled out of the garden, where it talks about the tree of life. Okay, because it makes sense. It started talking about the tree of life and it ends talking about the tree of life. So it's a complete thought. So we're talking about organizing the word of God in our head. All right. So let me continue with uh, chapter 2 of Sword of the Spirit. Now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he called the woman, excuse me, and he asked the woman, why has Elohim said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman answered the serpent, we, we may eat the fruit of the tree of the garden, but from the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, you shall not eat of it, nor shall you touch it, or you will pass on. Then the serpent said to the woman, not die, you will pass on? For Elohim knows that in the day that you eat of it, then your eyes will be opened, and you will be like deities, knowing good and evil. Moreover, the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and desired the tree to make one wise. She took its fruit and ate. Also she gave to her husband with her, and he ate. Then both of their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together, and made coverings for themselves. Then they heard the sound of Yahweh Elohim moving through the garden towards the wind that day. However, Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim in the midst of the trees of the garden. Then Yahweh Elohim called to Adam and asked him, "Where are you?" And he answered, "I heard your sound in the garden, but I was afraid, because I was naked, so I hid myself." And he asked, "Who told you that you were naked? Did you eat of the tree that I commanded you not to eat?" And Adam answered, "The woman who you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate." Then Yahweh Elohim asked of the woman, "What is this that you have done?" And the woman answered, "The serpent beguiled me, and I ate." Then Yahweh Elohim said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, you are cursed above all livestock, and above every beast of the field. Upon your belly you will go, and dust you will eat all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He will bruise your head, and you will bruise his heel." Unto the woman it was said, "I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow you will bring forth children, and your desire will be to your husband, and you will and he will reign over you." And to Adam he said, "Because you have hearkened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree which I commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of it, cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow you will eat it all the days of your life. Also it will bring forth thorns and thistles to you, and you will eat the herb of the field. With the sweat of your face you will eat the bread until you return to the ground, for you were taken out of it. For dust you are, and to dust you will return." Furthermore, Adam called his wife's name Hachwa, life, because she was the mother of all living. Then Yahweh Elohim made Adam and his wife tunics of skin, and clothed them. And Yahweh Elohim said, "Behold, Adam has become like one of us, to know good and evil. Now he may also put forth his hand and take of the tree of life, and eat, and live forever." Then Yahweh Elohim sent him forth from the garden of Eden to till the ground from where he was taken. Thus he drove out Adam. Then from the east of the garden he placed the cherubim and the flaming whirling sword to protect the way of the tree of life. Okay, so there we have the chapter 2, my ending of chapter 2. It begins talking about the tree of life, and it ends talking about the tree of life. Now, I have been doing biblical studies for a while, and I only do what I feel led to learn about. And right now, in my private personal studies, I am learning about the tree of life in Kabbalah. All right. I'm not Jewish. I come from a Christian background, but I have come to understand, right, that there are deeper truths than what is just in the Bible. And so I have been learning some about the Kabbalah, and in the Kabbalah there is the tree of life and the tree of death. They call it death, but it's actually the tree described in chapter 2, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It's the knowledge of good and evil. Okay, that's which leads to death. Okay, and um, anyway, I will be talking about that stuff in future videos. I'm wanting to get through my through my 40 days of reading the Torah. All right, 40 days and nights, which reminds me I will be back on again later tonight. So I'm doing it, my morning reading at 7 in the morning, and I'm doing an evening reading at Central Time at 7 at night. So for 40 days and nights, I'm going to be doing this. All right, it's my reading marathon of the Torah. Uh, if you're in there, just be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. My goal for doing this is I would really love to get to 1,000 subscribers by before the end of this 40 days and 40 nights. Actually, I think possibly we could even get more. I know that the beginning of this video started off a little bit as a flop, right? Because I was having a terrible echo, but that's been resolved. I know what caused it, so hopefully we won't have it happen again. Anyway, I'll get that cut off and we can move forward. So anyway, yes, feel free to ask questions along the way. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things I have changed in chapter 2 before I move on to chapter 3. This is my interpretation of the Bible. I'm using Paleo Hebrew, reconstructed Paleo Hebrew pronunciations of names. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about is the sacred name. It first shows up in my chapter 2, verse 1. Again, my chapter 2 starts at a different part than most Bibles. But where it says, "These are the generations of the heavens and earth when they were created in the day that Yahweh, he exists, Elohim, made the heavens and the earth, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew." So I do not use the Lord, okay? And the reason why is because it gives the idea of like overlording, and people tend to rebel against being overlorded, right? They don't want to work for an overlord that just it triggers rebellion in us. So that is the reason why I do not use the Lord, because it's not even accurate. It comes from the Tetragrammaton, which is the sacred name of God, and um, and the Lord is not an accurate interpretation of the Tetragrammaton. Uh, what it means is he exists. He is, right? He exists. And I think that is a much better way of um, perceiving God. Not that he's an overlord that we have to feel oppressed by, but rather that he does exist. Okay? He exists. He does. All right. My pronunciation, there are many people, many groups that know about Yehua, all right, about the sacred name and everything like that. There are many. And but they pronounce his name different ways, like Yahuwah, Yahweh, Jehovah. I pronounce his name as Yehua. And the reason why is because I had this supernatural experience that years ago, and where I received a download, a message from God with the accurate pronunciation. Okay, and that is why I pronounce the name the way I do, Yehua. Okay, there's a little bit of a in there. I don't always get that in there. I'm not Arabic. I'm not Jewish, so I don't always get that in there. But there is a little bit of one. There's Yehua. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to What else did I want to talk about? Chapter 2, and feel free to ask questions if you have any. Uh, let's talk about this. So the serpent asked Eve, "Why don't you eat of every tree?" And she says, "I can, but I can't eat of this particular tree, or else I'll pass on." Now, in the Bible, it says die, but that's the English interpretation of the Bible. It says die. But if you read it through Hebrew, it's a diminutive form of the word die. It's reduced. So what is less than dying? We all know what dying is, right? So what is a reduced, a diminished form of dying? To pass on. It's not as harsh, and um, it's not actually a physical death. Okay, it is something else. It is a letting go of the old self and being actually born again, right? The old self has died and now you are something new. When they ate of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, their eyes were open, right? They became something new. Okay. So and it happened pretty instantly. All right. Um, how can I give you an example of this? It's like whenever we have an epiphany of something, right? Your eyes are open to something. It can completely change the way you see reality. All right. So, um, and the serpent says, not die, you will pass on. All right. In Hebrew, now that's not what traditional interpretations say. But he makes a distinction here. There is the word death, so you're not going to die. You'll pass on. All right. You'll pass on to a different version of yourself, a more awakened version of yourself, because you have acquired some knowledge. All right. Knowledge is power. Knowledge, you know, well, just think of it. It's like I said, the epiphany. When you have an epiphany, then it changes your reality. And you are the old self, the old understanding has died. All right. Hey, if you are watching this, be sure to like and subscribe. I am doing this marathon for the intent of increasing my subscribers, and because it is for 40 days and 40 nights. Okay, um, it has significant meaning to me. 1111 has significant meaning to me. Um, Symbolically, if you're into angel numbers, it represents a new beginning and the foundations of of our lives, right? So if we want to have a good, solid foundation, it should be built on the Word of God. All right, that is a good, solid foundation. It's great for the new beginning. All right, so uh, if you if you're wanting to like reprogram your subconscious programming, all right, there's a lot of people that are coming to understand this, that we are kind of like a program. You know, we're like a computer a little bit, similar to a computer. Anyway, and we what do you put in? What do you feed your brain, right? What are your core values? Well, I choose on this 1111 to make the Word of God my core value. Okay? So, let me see what else. I'm going to go ahead and begin chapter 3. In my version of the Bible, it's going to be a little bit different, okay? Because the chapters and verses are a little bit different. I compartmentalize the chapters and verses in a way that makes logical sense. Uh, so, for instance, in chapter 3, we're talking about the first uh, born, the first son that was born. Uh, Cain, who is Cain, and it ends with the story of Cain, and then a new son replaces Cain, not Cain, but Abel, the one who was murdered by Cain. And so again, my chapters and verses. So basically, this is the story of Cain and the story of recognizing that we are mortals and flesh and bone. It's the awareness of, okay, and that we can die and being, this flesh fleshly body can die. And so it's that awareness that Adam and Eve had to come into. Remember, they didn't know that we could die, right? They didn't know, and but they learned that we could. So chapter 3 is all about understanding our mortality. Let's go ahead and begin chapter 3. And Adam knew Hakwa, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, possession. And she said, I possess a man. He exists. Again she bore his brother, Habel, empty. And Habel was a keeper of sheep. However, Cain was a tiller of the ground. And it came to pass during a period of time, Cain brought an offering unto Yahweh from the fruit of the ground. Also Habel brought from the firstlings of his flock, and from its fat. Moreover, Yahweh regarded unto Habel and his offering, but to Cain and his offering was no regard. So Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. Therefore Yahweh asked of Cain, Why are you wroth? And why has your countenance fallen? For you do not, if you do well, won't you be accepted? And if you don't do well, sin lies at the door, and it desires you, but you must rule over it. Then Cain asked, then Cain talked with Habel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Habel his brother, and slew him. And Yahweh asked of Cain, Where is Habel your brother? And he answered, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? Then he asked, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the ground, which was opened, which has opened her mouth to receive your brother's blood by your hand. Henceforth, when you till the ground, it will not yield her power to you. You will be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. However, Cain said unto Yahweh, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, today you have driven me out from the face of the ground. I will be hidden, I will be hidden from your face also. I will be a fugitive and vagabond in the earth. Therefore it will come to pass that everyone who finds me will slay me. Then Yahweh said to him, Therefore whoever slays Cain, vengeance will be taken upon him sevenfold. Therefore Yahweh set a mark upon Cain, lest all finding him would kill him. So Cain went out from the presence of Yahweh, and dwelt in the land of Nud, east of Aden. Furthermore Cain knew his wife. Thus he conceived and bore Canoch. Then he built a city, and called the name of the city after the son, after the name of his son Hanoth. And unto Hanoth Irad was born, and Irad begot Mehuhlal, and unto Mehuhlal begot Methuselah, and unto Mesh, and unto Methush, and unto Methuselah begot Lamech. I'm sorry, these words. I don't get out my Bible and read these names all the time, and so even I am struggling with these names. Then Lamech took 2 wives for himself. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. Furthermore, Ada bore Yubal. He was the father of tent dwelling and livestock, and his brother's name was Yubal. So you have Yabal and Yubal. He was the father of handling the harp and flute. Also, Zillah was bore. Also, Zillah she bore. Tubal-Cain was an instructor of all craftsmanship in copper and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Then Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, you wives of Lamech. Hearken to my speech, for I have slain a man for wounding me, and a young man for injuring me. If Cain will be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 77-fold. Furthermore, Adam knew his wife again. Thus she bore a son, and she called him Shet, appointed. For Elohim has appointed me another seed unto Habel, whom Cain slew. Then a son was born to Shet also, and he called his name Anush, mortal. This was the beginning of the calling of the name of Yeshua. He exists. Okay, so right here in chapter 3, it begins with waking up our awareness. Mankind is. All right, so it begins with the first child. And Eve, Chachwa, she says, I possess a man. He exists. Now, most interpretations say, by the Lord. I possess a man by the Lord. But the spelling is, he exists. Okay? So, Cain existed. All right? But it is an awareness. So I don't like the interpretations of most Bibles where she possessed a man by the Lord, because it implies that God impregnated her with this killer. All right. Um, so it kind of implies that. So what is more accurate is that she comes to the awareness that something that did not exist now exists. All right. And so it's that epiphany, right? That awareness, that knowing. Now, Cain means possession. So she had possession of something that didn't exist. Now she has it. Okay, it's possession. The names in the Bible, they really help us understand things. Before she didn't possess it, it wasn't there. Now it's a possession. It's something that she can tangibly see, it exists. Okay, so I'm just explaining why I uh, interpreted that the way I did. Okay, it's a little bit different than, well, it's a lot different than most Bibles because it's talking about our awareness of ourselves and what God is, and we, right, we're mortal. The after Shet, which is Seth, after he was killed, they come to realize that we were mortal, and so Adam, when he had a second son, excuse me, I messed up. Habel was when he was killed, right? They come and they realized that we were mortal, and so Seth, the third son. This is his name means appointed, all right, and it means and so this is where God's blessings would come through him because uh, Cain became a curse. You know, he became a vagabond. So the good things would flow through this other son. Okay, and Seth, Shet, when he had his son, he called him mortal, and it's because, like what I said, they came to the awareness that we can perish. Okay, we can perish. The chapter ends with, "This is the beginning of calling in the name of He exists, Yehweh." Okay, so this is a biblical interpretation of how people come to the knowing that there is a higher power. Um, but throughout cultures around the world, they have also come to the knowing that there is a higher power. Okay, and they don't use the name He exists or Yehweh, and yet it's the same concept, right? Here in the United States, a lot of people will say the big guy upstairs. Okay, that is kind of like a name for God that has become a name, the big guy upstairs. So for our higher power, this is just their way of bringing acknowledgement to that difference of the higher power and their self. And there is a higher power. A lot of people don't want to believe that, but there is. Okay, let's go ahead and get chapter 4 done, and that will be the last chapter for this part of the marathon. Again, I will be doing this marathon, reading the Torah for the next 40 days, day and night. So, 7 o'clock Central Time uh, in the morning during the day hours, and 7 o'clock Central Time PM for the evening hours. Day and night marathon. So this is going to be the last chapter for this morning. And the reason why I'm doing this, just to remind you if you're new, just popping in, the reason why I'm doing this is because I am trying to build up my viewership, my subscribers. I'm not going to be doing Bible readings indefinitely forever. Okay, I have a lot of deep esoteric knowledge that I want to share, but I am building my foundation. Okay, I have hit rock bottom and I am building my foundation. And the foundation should be the Word of God. So let's continue. Chapter 4. This is the Sefer, not Sefer. Let me start over. Again, so I have a lot of reconstructed Paleo Hebrew pronunciations of words. All right, so in most books, it would say this is the book of the generations.
Um, I call it the Sefer, okay? The scroll, because they didn't have books, they had scrolls. So I put in the correct word. So here we go. Chapter 4. This is the Sefer, scroll of the generations of Adam. In the day that Elohim created Adam, in the likeness of Elohim he was made. Male and female were created, and he blessed them, and he called them Adam in the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years. Then he begot a son in his own likeness after his image, and he called his name Shet. And the days of Adam after he and the days of Adam after he had begotten Shet were 800 years. Also he begot sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years. Thus he died. And Shet lived 105 years. Then he begot Anush. And Shet lived after he begot Anush 807 years. Also he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Shet were 912 years. Thus he died. And Anush lived 90 years. Then he begot Cain. Then he begot Canaan. And Anush lived after he begot Canaan 815 years. Also he begot sons and daughters. And after the days of Anush, and all the days of Anush were 905 years. Thus he died. And Canaan lived 70 years. Then he begot Mahalalel. And Canaan lived after he begot Mahalalel 840 years. Also he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Cain and all the days of Canaan were 910 years. Thus he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years. Then he begot Yared. And Mahalalel lived after he begot Yared 830 years. Also he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years. Thus he died. And Yared lived 162 years. Then he begot Hanuk. And Yared lived after he begot Hanuk 800 years. Also he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Yared were 962 years. Thus he died. And Hanuk lived 65 years. Then he begot Methuselah. And Hanuk lived with Elohim after he begot Methuselah 300 years. Also he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Hanuk were 365 years. Then Hanuk walked with Elohim. Then he was no more, for Elohim took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years. Then he begot Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begot Lamech 782 years. Also he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years. Thus he died. And Lamech lived 182 years. Then he begot a son, and he called his name Nuach, consolation, saying, This one will be a consolation for us concerning the work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahweh has cursed. And Lamech lived After he begot Nuach, 595 years. Also he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years. Thus he died. And Nuach was and Nuach was 500 years old. Then Nuach begot Shem, Ham, and Yafet. Okay, so I'm going to end my Bible reading right here. But before I do, I want to talk about the generations real quick. You know, there are some amazing hidden mysteries in these generations. For instance, uh, Chanuk is uh, Enoch. Okay, it's who we know to be Enoch, and he it says that he existed for 365 years, and then he was no more because God took him. Well, 365 years. How many days are in a year? 365. It was actually Enoch, Chanuk, who um, who did the calendar. All right, who God taught the calendar, the seasons and things. It was him, and that's how he helped humanity, was through that. So this is all pretty amazing stuff. I am really excited about. There are a lot of other mysteries in this, like for instance, Lamech, the father of Noah, Nuach. He died when he was 777 years old, and so it represents the completion of a cycle. And I can't remember if he died just before the let me see. So all right, so Lamech was 182 years old, and then he had Noah, and so Noah, the flood took place when he was 600. That would suggest the math is a little bit off on that. I'm gonna have to look into that. Anyway, yeah, that would suggest that he existed after the flood. And do we know that that didn't happen? So I'm gonna have to make sure the math works out on that. That's an interesting thing. I was thinking it was possible I might have mistyped his might have mistyped that year. I have to look back into that because if Lamech had like yeah, if he had him at 182 and he had Noah at 182 and the floods came when Noah was 600, then how did he live to be 777 years? Because that would be he would be existed after the flood. He was on that ship or something. I didn't know. I don't know. Maybe his childbearing years were over. I don't know. That's weird. He shouldn't have been on the boat. I'm gonna have to do some research. I might have mistyped. I might have done a typo there. We'll see. Anyway, I'll talk about it in the next show. So be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, post a comment, share your thoughts, ask your questions. I appreciate it. And come back and check out. We're going to find this mystery. We're going to try to dig deeper into this mystery in the next live stream. All right, or the next, well, it'll be a live stream, but you might not catch it on the live stream. Regardless, thank you so much for participating in day one of my 40 days and nights of reading the Torah. All right, bye bye.